So when I started recording this morning to record this video, I wasn't fully familiar with how this character would actually work in like normal farming as a support. Um, this video does want to preface that I see her like and like all the stuff I say, I'm viewing her more as a support than an actual farmer. But you could definitely use this character for farming. She has all the stats you would need. And just to point this out, her MP5 is matching like someone with a buffed MP. And someone that has a guaranteed, or not guaranteed, but a character that has a super effective. So keep that in mind. This character, I mean, she technically could do the farming if you could keep her alive well enough. But that is, you have to jump through extra steps to get this character to actually be buffed by double bitch. Like, you need a lot of stuff you wouldn't normally be doing in farming, like healing, actually worrying about healing. But again, I'm not really talking about her as a farming DPS. I will mention it, but not the focus. While I was at work, did a lot of like math and testing on this. To see her to her max potential, you need her Bonsi, and you also need Summer Chloe, and then you need Vich and Oberon, which Vich and Oberon pretty standard for like any buster farming. But actually requiring the Summer Chloe, it's literally just to get the extra 10%, and she dips out. But she also does give like decent buffs, so especially buffs that in Buster is usually lacking. That's definitely what I want to bring up. The combination of using Elizabeth of the End and Summer Chloe is a nice chunky 40% attack. And for especially for characters that only have a charisma in their kit, this extra boost in attack does show a lot of increase in damage. Also want to preface that Buster has and always will be the most expensive way to actually be doing your farming. Art's always going to be the easiest. I don't think anyone is ever going to question that. If you're trying to farm a lot of characters all at once, you're going to be wanting to use arts. But for Buster specifically, especially if you're at level 190, you have this comp pretty much fully unlocked. And the damage for it is a lot more than what we had before. I was going to say what people wouldn't expect, but I think at this point, if we're using the entire team to buff up one character, I think most people can kind of understand how crazy the damage is. Again, not going to go over like everything. I'm going to save that for its own actual video because, yeah, when I was calculating everything, I'm just like, oh my god, this is awesome. But when you are level 190, your Vich, Oberon, Summer Chloe, and Elizabeth of the End, all of them are at bond 15, and you decide not to use Black Rail with your farming, you have 175% bonus bond point potential. Yeah. And that all goes to your main DPS. So free quest nodes turn into event nodes with event bonus. Event nodes with event bonus turned into storm pod nodes. Storm pod nodes turn into raid nodes. And yeah, because you can't really use all these characters together in raids. Or the grand raids. Another raid like we had for Noah, different story. But yeah, when you're at level 190, you use this comp, you are going to be like just speed farming because all the characters that would be able to farm for themselves are definitely going to be able to farm for themselves. And all they need is a 30 battery. That's it to do it super, super consistently. if they have less of a battery, you do have to do more. You become more dependent on Summer Chloe. But again, that is later down the line. So, oh, and might as well just say this off rip. This does close the gap with Melisyn versus other AoE Buster Lancers. Yeah, like, because before it was like she was more than 60% doing more. She was doing more than 60% more damage because she had Black Rail and no one else could. Now with everyone else pretty much being able to use Black Rail, that gap shrunk from 60 to like 14. And if you're using the same setup just with these new characters, it's actually less. So if you do this setup, you're gonna want stage 3 Melisyn, not 1. All right. So with that out the way, let us get started. I also do have a Chaldea run save here, and it's not with Black Girl. It's just starting from 20 because a pen 2. But yeah, even that damage is pretty damn impressive because it's a CE that gives all attack, and that's it. Is putting up numbers very, very similar to what they had before with starting with Bunyan CE. So, again, now that all the meta stuff is out the way, let's actually talk about Elizabeth of the End. So, Priestess of Planet Pumpkin. Eliza Olympus because they're on Mars. Archetype Mars, Archetype Halloween. You just read this and you start getting a headache almost immediately. Like, Planet Pumpkin, Halloween, and Servant verse immediately, and thus the headache begins. The counterpoint, though, is that this character is amazing for what she does. But again, the archetype Mars. I'm pretty sure if this was any other character but Elizabeth, people would probably not be happy, especially if this was the ordeal called that deals with foreigners. Again, haven't read it. If it is, honestly, the last few months I've kind of been expecting it to just be Saber Wars 3 and then they call it a day. So, again, we'll see in the future. Base stack 9.8k. This is why she's like actually good as a farmer. She actually has decent attack. And because she's an Avenger, they usually have more attack than other characters. And plus, I think they have a positive modifier. Yep, you do even more damage anyway. HP surprisingly high for an Avenger. Usually this number is a lot closer to this. But this number really doesn't matter. It's going to be 1 at the end of the turn. And then she's going to die. MP charge 0.56%. This could honestly be better, but again, she's not, as a support, she's not going to be on the field for very long. 1 turn at most, preferably. But again, as a farmer, it depends. She is chaotic evil and has animal characteristics, so she herself has 2 CEs she can use. The star and evil, and yeah, again, she's star and evil. They don't double stack with each other, but it lines up. Unfortunately. Animal characteristics, and also just something to note because I did it with the calc. These 2 are both full attack. The CEs that give you the bond bonus, both of them are full attack. So again, that's why this one is relevant up here, which we'll see later. Hit counts are good. 6 hit on quick. Really sucks she's an Avenger because not as many stars could be generated as you would like. Arts card again, little strong for being a 4 hit at 0.56, but most characters that have that also have 2 arts cards like that. So again, could be higher, but that's assuming she would even stay on the field for longer than a single turn. First skill, 30 battery for herself, 10 charge for the entire party for 3 turns. Very, very, very important for getting her to do these setups in the first place. This is what opens it up, especially for Mordred, to start using Black Rail instead of Rising Mud Rain, which for her is a definite increase in damage. She needed Rising Mud Rain just to get that extra 10%. Now you don't need to do that. So Mordred Stonks went up. And you also get 10 stars per turn, which again, nice. Oh, sorry, this is party, so just like Jinako, and at least I'm pretty sure it's Jinako, Himiko, she puts this on her allies, and it doesn't matter if she dies, you're still gonna get these. Or you're still gonna get 10% for all the allies she buffed. Or, yeah, not 10%. 10 stars per turn for all the allies she buffed. Second skill, 20% attack, 20% crit damage. If you're on the Halloween battlefield, which one of the Liz's, I think it's Caster Liz, enables. Yeah, Caster Liz puts it on. So, pretty useless outside Halloween. But hey, if it lines up, it lines up. People want to use Ellie for shit, just for shits and giggles. I don't see why not. You wouldn't reward them. And also a 30-star bomb. So to keep shitting on Ishtar, same value here with crit stars and even more crit damage. Even if this is on a turn longer cooldown, this is just a straight up better skill. Pumpkin Planet. Giving me a headache, chat. I swear, this is giving me a fucking headache. Third skill. What? And she, honestly, is... People are saying Merlin needs a buff after this. No. It is, like, Nightingale that needs a buff after this. Because, like, what the fuck are people even going to use Nightingale for in CQs? When Ellie just does that role better, and you don't need a taunt CE to get rid of her too. Like, yes, Nightingale is a Buster Berserker, so she goes down easy. But you know what's better than a character that is gonna die when people get hit? You know what's better than a character that's gonna die when she gets hit? A character that can die without needing to be hit in farming. Because 50% Buster... 50% crit damage, 50%, 5,000% star weight, the Berserker star weight, and all three of these last for 3 turns. This is really, really dumb. Honestly, I can't believe they gave... Like, everyone is, like, mind blown. They actually made a welfare this strong. Honestly, there's not going to be any notes for this character. I know I was talking shit about this up here, but it really doesn't matter. Esports got a huge buff. Pretty much every Buster servant in esports is just significantly better because of this character. Like, I was talking about farming before, but CQs are really where this character is actually gonna shine. Because, like, you don't need stars like this. You don't need this level of star gen for farming. Not unless, like, the enemy has such high HP, you actually need to crit. And, again, I looked at what the farming damage for this, when you use this character, actually is. With Black Rail, it is 600, almost 700,000 per enemy. Per enemy before class advantage. What the actual fuck are we doing? Damage. They took a break from letting the damage spike up. This setup is literally the difference from going from no Oberon to Oberon. Ludicrous amount of damage people can do if they have the right party cost. Because again, if you're not at level 90, you have to start making sacrifices almost immediately. And more likely than not, it's going to be the Bond CE. It's either you're taking off one of the 20%, or you only have one character that needs to farm, and you're taking off lunchtime. To just have the bond points you need for that one character. Because party cost for her farming is 117 exactly. If you're under that, and the only way to have that, level 190. At least I'm like 99% sure on that. Yeah, no, I'm like 99% sure on that. All right, let's keep going. I am now doing monthly $5 giveaways as a way to give back to my channel. I recently hit 500 subs and I want to keep giving back to the people that support me. All you have to do is comment on one of my videos during the month. Doesn't even have to be a video I make that month, and you are entered to win. 5 people can win every month with 1 win per person per month. Only 1 comment is counted as an entry every month. I will send you the prize in a way that works for both of us. Thank you for watching. Now let's get back to the video, because I don't want this to be a 30-minute video. The 2 passives, crit damage and self-replenishment magic. 4 gauge, oh, sorry, misclick. 4 gauge per turn, essentially. And very funny that we're talking about farming with an Avenger, but this is one of the few Avengers you're not going to use with Karen, and it's not just because she busts Buster and not Quick. This character doesn't provide a debuff to the party that Karen can use to get stronger with her attack buff. And I don't mean the skills, I'm talking about this passive. She doesn't have the normal Avenger passive, which I'm actually starting to be curious if that actually has to do with Ordeal Call 2 or not. But again, I'll see when I read it. And again, like, my whole thing with this is that you're gonna get her to bond 15. I know it sounds like such an insane requirement right now, but we have grand raids. We have extra storm pods every month, and you could teapot that shit in grand raids. I really think people are gonna have this character like bond 10 at bare minimum, probably at the end of next week. So, like, especially content creators, because of how impactful her bond CE actually is in the farming. And I will bring that up in the calcs, because if you have Summer Chloe, you're gonna want to use this character as bond CE, not Summer Chloe's, because hers is just way more consistent. Going to appends. This is a welfare. You're gonna be able to get all the coins for her. This is pretty much useless though, because she's not gonna stay on the team long enough unless she MPs and you do a brave chain. In which case, sure, but it's not gonna be that useful. If she's not like, this is useful if you're gonna be using someone that drains Karen, but at the same time, the drain happens on the next turn, so she wouldn't even be alive for it in the first place. Maybe another character that drains Gage, just not Karen. Like, I wasn't expecting an Avenger to actually have negative synergy with Karen, but here we actually are. Free crit damage, sure, if she's gonna do any kind of carding. I wouldn't be holding your breath on it, but more crit damage is more crit damage, right? And then this, again, she's supposed to be leaving the field. How the fuck is she gonna get her skills off cooldown? 666, of course. Of course it's gonna be 666. Alright, MP, 6 hit. Really? No fucking course. 6 hit AoE Buster. Removes all offensive buffs. By the way, this is not saying ignore class disadvantage, that icon. This does not mean all the icons are gonna go, only the ones that count as offensive buffs. This is just the trait icon. A lot of servants put traits on, and a good portion of them are not treated as buffs or debuffs, so it's much harder to get rid of them. Inflicts Curse, Inflicts Burn. You're doing this to activate power mods on like CEs, not really for her herself. If you're using her as the farmer, but again, you have to jump through a lot of hoops for that. And more incentive for her to be used as a farmer. Just probably not trying to double stack this. She does ramp up busters. So, again, kind of makes up for this if you don't try to double stack it. But the extra hoops you have to go through to get someone to heal is just not worth it. It really just isn't worth it. Not in farming. In a CQ, it's different, but in farming, it's a nightmare. Master level. Yeah, no. So the reason I really wanted to make this video today, and I'm re-recording this again, is because I leveled this character up like instantly because I just had all the mats, and I'm just happy about that because if I got in the other Liz on this account, that character would not be leveled for a while. Be stuck at her skills would be stuck at 8 for a while because I'm not able to get the comment shards quickly. Shop's already done, dusted twice. So I'm stuck doing grand raids and storm pods to actually be able to level that. And the new event gave me like a good chunk, so I do think I'm good on class score for comment shards. Might have to check the other classes, like maybe caster or archer is gonna throw me off or something. I don't know. We'll see. But we get down to the Bond CE. When she dies, she gives a 30 battery to the party. If you have not seen when specifically she actually dies, it is after your turn ends. So after you MP with your DPS, they will get the 30 battery after their MP, as if they had another battery themselves. But they're also going to get another 10 from this skill. So at the start of next turn, your character has 40% gauge already, no matter what the character is. If it's a servant that's actually able to give refund on top of that on their MP, like Mordred, you don't even need Summer Chloe. The reason you bring up Summer Chloe is because if she's out in the first turn, like in the first wave, she's out on the field. You use Vitch, you swap out Vitch for this Ellie. It doesn't matter how many enemies were in that first wave. Kuro is going to give you the battery you need to be able to hit 50 at the very least. If it's 3 enemies, now you're at 70. So, yeah. To get this effect, number one, the farmer you're using, you need to be doing it's enemy restrictive. And especially for the fact that if you need to use cards, like if you need to do cards to be able to get enough stacks of Chloe's stuff, this is a higher damage comp. There's a good chance you're gonna one-shot it. So you'd have to be carding before the NP. Which, if you kill, is gonna fuck up your run even more. There's a lot of risk with using Summer Chloe. When she's the one that you need to like get where you need solely. But if she's just a supplement and then she's just gonna dip out after dropping 20 attack and MP damage, much less of an issue. And remember, 20% attack and MP damage, that's how much the decisive battle Mystico, that's how much of the Mystico buff is. 20 and 20. So just thought I'd bring people's awareness to that. There is a reason why the cost goes up. Like, is this system perfect? No. Are people going to want to be able to do this with a lower cost? Absolutely. But that's not the point of what I was saying. If you're at level 190 more likely than not, you're at a point in the game where you don't need to. You're not farming mats to level characters. You're at level 190. You're probably at level 160 or 170 for a while. So again, your account should be way more built than someone that's at level 50. I mean 150. You should be at the point where you're actually going for Bond 15s, Bond 10s, a lot faster. And if this team is like set up to farm like this, especially if it's an extra class farmer, what node is actually going to challenge you? Because again, with my calcs, with Black Rel, you're hitting 700,000 damage neutral for a Lancer. If it's a Berserker, forget about it. Like, there's nothing in the game that actually like needs this much damage. But that's the beauty of it. If you want to see big numbers on the screen, this is the comps for you. Last thing to say about it, don't try and use Alco for this. I know I talked about using Alco as a substitute for like some buster farming. Yeah, no, this is definitely not going to work. It has to be Vich, no question. And again, that has more to do with the fact with Alco, you need to use K-Scope if you want to use her for buster farming. And yeah, you do not have the party cost to fuck around like that. All right. Talked about this for enough. I'm ready to eat and start streaming. So I will see you guys later. Peace. Oof. Almost forgot to actually show the farming numbers. So yeah, this might look low, but what CE is Romulus using? Oh, this is what. I forgot to. Shit. Well, this these numbers should be a lot higher. God damn it! I even ended recording too. Okay, 1 second. We're gonna get this right in a second. All right, so level the CE up to level 100, and what does this damage look? It went up by like 100,000. This is neutral numbers with you using a CE that only gives you attack. For reference of where Romulus was before, because I think that is actually the most important part. Where... Oh, do I not have the... Well... 1 second. Okay, blew it up nice and big. Romulus is here. Using Bunyan CE. 269,000. That was his best comp. Posted in community tab. Gap is closed because of this team comp. Melicin is no longer nearly as oppressive. But again, Melicin is just going to be easier to get up and running. But like I've been saying, my opinion, Buster is farming for whales. Whales see big damage and able to farm pretty much anything. I would definitely say doing Melicin numbers plus like 50% more damage than Black Robe Melicin is a pretty big jump for pretty much any character. It was close to like 100. From what I calculated, it was 125% increase. Not 25% increase in damage, 125%. Nutty shit. All right, I will see you guys later. Peace. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, drop a like or sub. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.